But Brian Cashman's ego is what drives this Anthony Volpe saga, because when you fail at a project and you told people in that franchise and Hal Steinbrenner that Anthony Volpe cannot be touched, and this is what he becomes. The egg is on Brian Cashman's face, and you know he's going to do everything that he can to save face. Brian Cashman, your ego is not your amigo. The Anthony Volpe experiment has failed.
Something that needs to be mentioned. Stanton gives it a ride. And one. It's gone in every part. Goodbye. My goodness.
Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. Volpe's benching is over and Big G beats the Nationals by himself. We got highlights. We got Aaron Boone's postgame press conference. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York sports for New York nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go!
It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports Talk for sports nuts.
Well, there you have it, guys. Big G almost beats the Nationals by himself tonight. He is locked in, and the Yankees get a much-needed win. And I told you, they need to win 7 in a row on the doom approach heading into next week against Houston, Detroit, and Toronto, where the boys become the boys and the men, well, that's a different story. Guys, Anthony Volpe returned to the diamond tonight, and you would have thought that he was gone for 3.5 months. The way that the Yankees covered Anthony Volpe being out, he sat for a game and was out for like 6 innings of 1. So, wow, 14 innings of rest really sent the message to Anthony Volpe, really gave him the mental reset and physical reset he really needed to play shortstop tonight. Cabanero should be the starting shortstop of the New York Yankees, period, stop. Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe hitting back-to-back in the lineup next to each other is 2 back-to-back automatic outs. Cabanero brings speed, he brings athleticism, and a little bit of a clutch and a chip on his shoulder. Anthony Volpe plays baseball like he just drank a bottle of NyQuil and he's attempting a squeeze bunt. Well, I wish he would with the way that he hits at 208. And it looks like the benching didn't help at all tonight. I saw a crazy stat about Anthony Volpe that 88 players since 2023 have had 1,500 at-bats. Out of those 88 players, Anthony Volpe ranks 88th in every single offensive category. And as you can see, he has another Olay tonight, and he's completely lost at the plate. Let's dig a little bit deeper into the Anthony Volpe saga. If you remember when they did bring him up 2 years ago, they brought him ahead of schedule, a year ahead of schedule. And this was the guy that we heard in deals for Juan Soto when he was on the Nationals, and that he was one of those untouchables. Well, guess what? Anthony Volpe and Austin Wells, who were teammates, okay, they are 2 automatic outs back-to-back. Anthony Volpe cannot be the starting shortstop of the New York Yankees anymore. I think that the Anthony Volpe experiment is up because he's up for arbitration next year. And unless the Yankees let Jazz walk and don't re-sign him and move Anthony Volpe over to second base, there is no room for Anthony Volpe on this team. Since year 1 of Anthony Volpe, when he won the Gold Glove, kind of by default, I'm going to be honest here, he has regressed every single year. So where does that lie? Does that lie on the coaching staff? Does that lie on Anthony Volpe? That lies on Brian Cashman and his ego. Because Brian Cashman's farm system that he assembled is not developing players, and we're seeing it. And if we do develop a positional player out of the farm system, it's usually in spite of Brian Cashman and his farm system, and the guy's naturally good. It's glaring all over the place. Austin Wells, Anthony Volpe, and Jason Dominguez plays outfield like he's on roller skates, and he's not playing every night because he can't, and he's a liability. And every single person that you brought up from the farm system that wears a glove is a liability. I'm not including Ben Rice into this conversation because he's splitting time between first base and catcher. If he was the everyday first baseman and he was doing bonehead moves, he'd be included into this conversation. But Brian Cashman's ego is what drives this Anthony Volpe saga, because when you fail at a project and you told people in that franchise and Hal Steinbrenner that Anthony Volpe cannot be touched, and this is what he becomes. The egg is on Brian Cashman's face, and you know he's going to do everything that he can to save face. Brian Cashman, your ego is not your amigo. The Anthony Volpe experiment has failed. Either sign him in arbitration will be too much money, or move him to second base next year and don't re-sign Jazz. But the one saving grace about Anthony Volpe that I have seen in his defense is he's got a little bit of a clutch gene with what we saw in the World Series, and he has gotten big home runs in his career. He just consistently hasn't been Anthony Volpe of the beginning of the season who was hitting the cover off the ball. Another thing is, they play us into this catch-22 with Anthony Volpe about how he's a Jersey kid, and we automatically love this guy and gave him a pass for about 2.5 years because, yes, he was developing. But also, if Anthony Volpe was from Idaho, we would have been calling for his head about a year ago. I was calling after the World Series that Anthony Volpe is a liability, and when it comes down to crunch time, you can see he stiffens up when pressure presents itself, because think about being a Yankee fan your whole life, and you get to grow up and wear the pinstripes. That pressure must be so immense. And then it's not like when you have a day off with Anthony Volpe that if you do go back to your hometown that you're not going to hear it. Like you didn't grow up listening to WFAN. Like Anthony Volpe doesn't look at social media. Like his boys back at New Jersey, if he doesn't listen to social media or listen to the radio, are telling him what's being said about him. But he knows how the crowd feels about him, and it's compounding on Anthony Volpe's shoulders. So I don't see an exit strategy or a way out for Anthony Volpe, but I know that we are running out of time, and we cannot have at-bats and pop-ups like this, and I know I'll hear from Bubbles, Baboon, excuse train Aaron Boone, about how these were good at-bats by Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe. These are two prime examples of guys that the Yankees developed, and we give all the catchers away. We give all the good ones away. Now, let's go to another thing that the Yankees actually do get right, which is the pitching from the farm system. Luis Gil went tonight. It's the tale of two cities with Luis Gil. Luis Gil has all the stuff in the world. Luis Gil has all the velocity in the world. Luis Gil walks too many batters. Last year, he led rookies in strikeouts. He was third in all of the Major League Baseball with 3 strikeouts. And if you remember the first half of that season, he was an all-star last year. I believe he was 13-1 in the first half. And Garrett Cole went down, and we were singing his praises because he saved the Yankees in the first half. But his walks were a big problem. So now this is what we have to think with Luis Gil. Is this ring rust? Is this Luis Gil still trying to get back into form, getting reps underneath him? Or does Luis Gil walk people and he's going to be a liability in crunch time or in the postseason? Because he has a tendency to get lost during at-bats and lose the strike zone. But there was this one point where Aaron Boone and the pitching staff came out to Luis Gil in the 4th inning because he was only throwing 92 miles an hour on one of his fastballs. And they came out and they ran like Luis Gil's hair was on fire. Luis Gil said he was fine. They went back to the dugout, and Luis Gil was able to finish out that inning. But let's see what Aaron Boone has to say in the postgame press conference when we get to him. Let's see if they address that. Hopefully they do, because maybe Luis Gil was just trying to take a little relish off that hot dog and trying to be a little cute just by taking miles an hour off his fastball. His finishing line was 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 92 pitches, 375. He did the Yankees pitcher shuffle, which is you either get into the 4th or 5th inning and you just start throwing a shitload of pitches. Duvall and Bednar did really well tonight. No complaints from them. Tim Hill from AutoZone took a cigarette break, went right into that game and struck all those sons of bitches out. Can we not say enough about Tim, King of the Hill? Because every time this guy comes in, I have zero complaints. I can list on one hand how many times I've complained about Tim Hill, and the only complaint I have is that Aaron Boone didn't bring him in the World Series. Every time this guy comes in, he is money. Cruz came back tonight. He wasn't on cruise control, but you could see towards the end of his appearance that he started to get his calibration down, and he started to make 2 batters that he struck out. He did load the bases, but he struck out 2 batters and made them look completely silly. The bullpen that the Yankees have now with the addition of Cruz is going to be very, very hard to hit when we do get to the postseason or a wild card appearance. Also, don't forget Yarborough is on his way back to also help the starting rotation just in case Max Fried or Carlos Rodon wants to skip a start and get some rest, because I have been begging that about Max Fried, but it seems like he started to correct stuff in his last start. Aaron Judge looked completely lost again tonight. I am confused why they continue to play him. Even though he is so lost, he looks hurt. I got a bone to pick with him. Aaron Judge needs to get kicked out of a game. I am sorry that he's only been kicked out of 1 game in his whole career and that he's the gentle giant and all this shit. But when you keep getting pitches like that, Aaron Judge, you're the face of Major League Baseball. If you show up and ump, I know it's not your style, but if you show up and ump and you tell him, no, that's a ball, he will remember next time, and the word might get out against the umpires, because you got to pitch a bitch. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, Aaron Judge, and I'd like to see you get upset about something, okay? I'd like to see you get emotional about something, because you're completely lost at the plate, and if you're hurt, just sit. Giancarlo Stanton is red hot enough where he can hold this team. The Yankees offense is not the problem. It's just shooting themselves in the foot in crucial situations. But let's go to Baboon Bubbles, Aaron Boone's postgame press conference.
Aaron, you said before the game that this might be the best that you've seen Giancarlo Stanton in pinstripes. Just how would you describe what he has been doing in the month of August?
You know, even when he goes on good runs, you know, obviously he hits the ball so hard, and he's, you know, he'll hit homers and he's gotten so many big hits over the years. But the consistency of the at bat is what's been so impressive. I mean, tonight, all of them, you know, the first, yeah.
Last 20 games, 393, 10 home runs, 25 RPIs, 1,400 OPS. That's what I'm saying. We really don't need Aaron Judge right now. I'd rather him get completely 100% healthy if that's even a possibility with him in this season. But just, you could rest him, give him some rest, give Anthony Volpe some rest too, and play Cabanero. It's the base clearing double, and it's his at-bats are starting to emulate Juan Soto when he's locked in. I've seen Giancarlo locked in, especially during the postseason last year, a couple of years ago, against the Boston Red Sox right on the heels of the pandemic playoffs, and he's always become big in a big spot, and as he's gotten older, he's gotten more clutch, and now it's getting like cartoon style with Giancarlo Stanton, because he is getting into some rarefied air with clutch statistics on the New York Yankees, especially in the playoffs.
He had said on the field that he's just been out so long. He just wants to do anything he can. He's happy to be contributing. Do you sense that he's just thrilled to be able to be a big part?
I just think there's an obsession with winning, and, you know, there's nothing going to get in his way. from doing everything possible to make sure he puts himself in a good spot. And it's about us winning every day.
It looked like Gil's velocity dipped there in that fourth inning. You guys went out to check on him. What was said there? And then the next inning, when he was in, it seemed like it ticked up a little bit.
Yeah, I think he just kind of backed off a little bit, trying to better find the strike zone.
See? I was right. He was trying to get cute, just taking a little relish off that hot dog. The Yankees pitching staff ran out like he blew his arm because, they're looking at velocity every single time that guy's throwing a pitch. And the fuck just happened? Aaron Boone and the coaching staff ran out like he needed Tommy John immediately on the spot because those dudes watch the radar gun like a mental patient. So he goes from throwing 97 to 98. All of a sudden, it's down to 92. These guys are running out and shutting down shop because they must have been worried. And he told them, nah, go back in the dugout, just trying to calibrate. And if you notice how he finished that inning, he found the strike zone and then he added some velocity to it and got out.
So I think he just backed off, which was my sense. That's why I didn't go out there, because I noticed it right away with the first few. And then that was my sense of what he was doing. It was just trying to be a little more under control and try and command a little bit better. And that's what it was.
Larry and Dan.
Stanton is hitting about 350 with runners in scoring position this season. Just what are you seeing in those at-bats, and what are those at-bats like?
Just the mental game. He's just got
Giancarlo Stanton is turning into a cartoon character, okay? The way that he is hitting and in the rate in which he is hitting, the game is slowing down for Giancarlo Stanton. And I know that I've gotten on his case about the moon boots and him being Frankenstein. He has played an excellent right field. There has been zero problems. He's played right field better than Juan Soto played right field in Yankee Stadium last year, and that's a fact. And not to mention, he is hitting out of his mind, and the way that he locks these at-bats in, he looks like Juan Soto now. I don't know if maybe they worked together a little bit or Juan Soto gave him a little bit of that secret sauce. I know Stanton's always been clutch, but this is a different level. This is MVP Marlins Stanton that we're getting right now because this is the regular season. He's hitting singles. He's hitting for average. His average is over 300. I wish the Yankees could get by on resting Aaron Judge right now because if you see the Yankees offense, they can make up for the runs with a lot of other players. Scoring runs is not their problem. Fucking up in a big spot is the Yankees' problem. And them lapsing on defense is a very big problem for the New York Yankees.
Damn.
Aaron, with Bellinger, he looked like he might have gotten confused on that first throw home. Do you know what happened there?
Yeah. So
if you guys were watching on the broadcast, Cody Bellinger did throw a guy out at home tonight, but the play before that, he was a little lackadaisical. The edibles must have been kicking in. He hit Rosario, the cutoff guy, when he should have been going home, and he was kind of caught sleeping a little flat-footed, which is rare for Cody.
Got to it in pretty good shape, and he saw the third baseman throw his arms up. So he kind of reloaded, and he ran through the stop sign. So, it's a situation where he's got to just get rid of it regardless and get it in the hands of the cutoff man initially and not reload there.
And that's what he did later in the game, obviously. Yeah. So is that what the conversation was that you had with him in the dugout?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys. The Yankees win, beat the Nationals. Really not much to this game tonight, but the Yankees pick up a much-needed win. Like I said, they need to keep doing this. We need 7 in a row before the meat grinder that is next week. The New York Yankees. Remember, we're going to start football coverage wall-to-wall next week on this channel. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York sports for New York nuts. Let's go, Yankees. Don't forget, we have a day game tomorrow. If you're at work and you forget and you got to wait till 7:05 and you get home, you got all your snacks, and the game already happened, I don't want that to happen to you. It's a day game tomorrow because the Yankees got to travel over to Chicago and play the White Sox. And don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Bye.